Okay, so this video, power steering. However, this is a good opportunity to do some elimination of the engine knock. And what I mean by that is I'm going to take the serpentine belt off to do the power steering pump, of course. So what I'm going to do is get the truck warm and prove the knocking to everybody, and then take the serpentine belt off and see if the knocking is still there. And that will eliminate all the accessories. Alternator, AC, water pump, and power steering pump. If the knock goes away, we know it's one of those, but I'm not too hopeful. So I'm gonna start it up and get it warm. Okay, we're still cold right now. It's only been running for less than a minute. I'm gonna let it run until we get that knock to come back, and then I'll turn the camera back on. I'd say it's been running for 3 to 4 minutes now. That's obvious. So now I'm going to take off the belt and see if it stays, and I'm pretty sure it will. Okay, on the serpentine belt, the tensioner pulley right there has a nice little square hole right there that a 3/8 ratchet fits into perfectly. The belt's mashed between them. Oh, that's interesting. This felt a ton of play on the shaft. Power steering pump. So that could be an easy indication that your pump is going bad. Let's see. Yeah, the belt could use a replacement too. A lot of cracking. Still some lettering on it though. Deal with that later. Let me show you the pump here. Okay, I'm trying to get a top-down shot of the pulley, and I can pull it out. Look at that. That is insane. I might be able to pull it out, but I think I'll have a lot of fluid come behind it. There's some, there's definitely some fluid behind it. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm lucky it didn't fall off while I was driving it home. Okay, this was at the serpentine belt. You can definitely hear it. It's still doing it. Okay, the idea right now is I'm going to jack it up the front end so that I can turn the steering wheel with the truck off and pump some of the fluid back up into the power steering reservoir, and then I'm going to use my suction can to get most of that fluid out so I can put all new in once the new pump is in. And I'm going to use that shitty little jack that was included with the car just to give it a test run too. Yeah, unfortunately that little thing just, it ain't got enough power, and it didn't come with the handle or whatever, so I'm using mine off a bottle jack. And I'm twisting it, trying to put enough leverage on it. It might actually do it if I had the right handle for it, but I don't, so I'll have to break out the big jack. Okay, there's a little bit of a plastic skid plate right in the middle, so I had to go off to the one side, so that's why this side is way up higher, much more than the other side. And here's the suction can I was talking about. Looks kind of like a grease gun with a hose on the end. You just pull on that. So, and it sucks up. There's not a check valve on it or nothing like that. And then just a old milk jug to catch it. Okay. Set my jug right beside it. It'll help. It's completely full right now. Okay, I got a good portion of it out. Now I'm going to turn the wheel all the way to one side and stop and see if more comes in. Now the wheels are all the way to the right, but don't really see that much more fluid in there. Just trying to poke around and find the low spot so you get as much as possible, but not super familiar with where the bottom of it would be. Yeah, it's not pulling a whole lot more. Turn it the other way. Actually, you see even less fluid now. I've seen somebody do it like this before, but of course it was on a minivan or something such like that. So I think I've got as much out of the reservoir as I'm going to get. So let's start taking it off. Obviously, first up is going to be the air filter cover. Filter. No, it seems like I've seen some kind of strap or something in somebody else's video, but I'm not sure if that's all Envoys or not. And they also took out windshield washer fluid reservoir. Somebody else said it wasn't necessary. And the actual bolts for the power steering pump are on the front, right behind the pulley, but there are lines to get to, and I think one electrical connection on the back side maybe, so it couldn't hurt to have that out of the way. I think there's maybe 2 bolts and 3 wiring connections, something like that. I'm sure I have to dig into a little bit more here. Okay, the 13 mil up here definitely needs to come out, but the one down at the bottom really only needs loosened so that you can lift it up just enough to get it off of this stud, and then it'll actually slide off the stud in the front. Looks like if you can get it to come out of the rubber. Yeah, it may be easier just to take the nut off actually. Okay. Electrical connectors. They are different size. And we got a kind of Loctite here, and then a couple of hoses off of the motors. Assume we got our front and rear. What's it really on there? Split the rubber. I might just see if I can set this whole thing up out of the way. That should give me plenty of room to work down there, I think. Well, I do believe I was misinformed about the electrical connection, because the only thing I can see is the pressure line and the return line, and then the 3 bolts, and I think we'll have it out of here. I mean, these wires back here, we got O2 sensor and then oil pressure, it looks like. I think I might be able to get, maybe not. I think we can get needle nose on the return line clamp. I definitely should have put something underneath of that, because whatever's left in the reservoir is now going down on the ground. Oh well, the driveway wasn't that clean anyway. Let me get that high pressure line off there now. Well, I've got a 5/8 on the bottom nut, on the line, pressure line. And it looks like it's going to need some persuasion come loose, so I'm going to break out the hammer and tap on it while I'm trying to rotate it. Maybe try to get a cheater bar on the wrench. I mean, it was definitely a good idea to get the washer reservoir out of the way. Well, that was incredibly easy, as long as I could hit the wrench right there. I was even using a broken handle hammer. A few taps and it let go real easy, so good deal. Looks like there is an O-ring on the end of that line, so hopefully the new pump came with that. I think we're down just to the matter of the 3 13mm bolts that you're supposed to be able to access through the pulley, like that. Awesome. The bottom one's not even there. That's what you get for getting a used car, I guess, right? So I pulled the pulley out. Shaft came with it, and you can see it broke right where the splines started on the shaft. So they definitely should have designed it differently, sounds to me, because this is not the first time I've heard about this shaft breaking inside of the pump. I'm just amazed that it stayed in there and didn't work itself out. But I guess that's maybe the serpentine belt doing this job. Now getting this off here might be difficult. I thought it was bolted on. After looking at it, I'm not so sure anymore. I might need a yeah, okay, I need a puller. Okay, so I'm gonna go do that off camera. Well, luckily I can say that went off without a hitch. Pretty easy. I went to Advanced Auto and got their power steering and alternator pulley puller installer kit. Looks like it's part number 648605. There are instructions. I just opened it upside down. Awesome. There are instructions in here on how to use it, but if you've ever used these kinds of kits, then it's fairly self-explanatory. To get it off, put this piece and this piece over the end, clink all together, and then your ring goes around it to hold it. And you put that down in there and just run it down until it pops off. And then to install it, let's see, I used the short one here. Looks like it's labeled as universal. I think it's the lettering underneath. And I actually put, I think, the short end down in. Maybe it was the long. I don't want to go in so far. It may have not actually mattered which way. And washer, bearing, and the center screw over the top of that with your, what do they call this, puller body maybe, on there like that. And then you just run that nut down until it quits turning, basically. Held this with a 1/2-inch socket wrench and ran that down with, I think it was 11 or 13/16. Yeah, that was easy. Also, there was one O-ring in the kit and some instructions in there. And the instructions were for changing the O-ring on the reservoir, and that looks like a much bigger O-ring. It wasn't in there. And there are differences between, well, I should say, as far as some of the parts stores are concerned, between the extended wheelbase and the regular wheelbase vehicles on the power steering pump. The difference is $9. I had to get the one with the extended wheelbase. I hope it's the same. They should be the same. But just because they had it in stock and I wanted to get this done today. On the reservoir, it looks like I'm just trying to undo these clips. I guess they slide off. Well, the clips are proving to be somewhat difficult to bend back. And stay up high enough. Oh, things are tough. I think I can maybe slide something in behind it. That's in there, but not by much. And then they need to move off away from the pulley. A vise and a hammer and chisel would go great right here. There's that one. And they said they are left and right hand dependent. Might just set that one on there.
Workspace a little bit. Man, these are tough. All the way in there. Okay. O-rings down in there, huh? And no, there is not an O-ring in the new one. Big surprise, right? Uh-oh. Well, let's beat them down till they can't move no more. I think we're ready to go back on the truck now. Okay, so this is the pressure line, and that is the O-ring. I hope to change. Good. Well, since I got good access, this is a really good time to check the tensioner and idler pulleys for bearing wear. Shake it back and forth. Hardly any movement. When I spin it though, there's a bit of noise there. And the other one has some movement. It's got some noise too. It's definitely got some play to it, so those need to be replaced next time I think about it. And I did not procure a third bolt yet, but I'm ready to put it back in. I can put the third one in later. I do notice I got some oil right there on the pulley. I'll put some of my purple degreaser on it later, right before I get to put the belt on. Well, I think I'm ready for the hoses. Okay, so it's really down to putting the lines back on. And I didn't pop out my plug. Damn it. Hopefully I can get to that with just a little tiny screwdriver. Yep. A bit difficult to get lined up properly. This is the 5/8 wrench. I think 15 is what's supposed to be on there, but mine wouldn't fit for whatever reason. I just need to slip the return line up onto its nipple. I was squeezing that with needle nose. Channel locks might be a better idea. I might hide you here because this is gonna get a little bit of a contorting here. I can't see how to get you an angle to watch while I do this either. That was much easier with channel locks. So I'm really down to putting some oil in it, cleaning that pulley. Okay, while that's drilling out the last drops, spray some degreaser on this pulley here. Should get rid of all the power steering fluid that was on it. I went ahead and put the belt back on. I am full here, but of course I'm sure it'll go down. I'll run it, turn the wheel back and forth a few times and check it again. But I really don't need access down here anymore as long as everything works okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this big thing down in there and put the air filter back in. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and let it down and start it and check the steering from inside. I think we should be good to go. Here we go. Now just check the oil, make sure it's still good level, and power steering fixed. Excellent.